9th of May, Rabbi Furst, Ruth. A different place from normal.
No, regular. This is my place in the yeshiva.
Oh, this is your office, right?
Yeah,
right.
the office in yeshiva. Yeah. How's Yosef doing? I want to ask you, how is his Pesach and everything else?
Pesach went well. He's actually here right now, moving stuff around to different rooms, rearranging my house.
Okay.
We unfortunately we did some experiments and they didn't work with the alternative living arrangement for him.
Yeah.
So we put him in one place that Tamir had recommended, and unfortunately, it turned out that the guys there really were not Shomer Shabbos. He didn't like it, and I agree with him.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out. And then this last weekend, we put him in another group home with about 10 men.
Right.
And he didn't like that either. So that's not working out.
Interesting.
I really appreciate you telling my life story to everyone in the class.
This is Rabbi Furst. I've been talking to him about your situation. He's helping. He's advising me.
Great.
Anyway, Yosef doesn't want me to talk about it anymore, so I'll let's get on.
No problem. No problem. Look at business. Okay, so what we're in the middle of our Megillus Ruth. I think there was the pasuk we left off on. There were two psukim that were I was concerned about. That Naomi speaks about her situation, and she calls it. She uses two references to describe her situation. That's after they return back to Beis Rechem.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll.
One was
That would be pasuk 20 and 21, if I'm not mistaken.
right. 21. It said.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good
We're
morning.
just getting
Good morning,
started.
Ruth. Okay.
Was bitter. It was bitter.
Right. That was the first pasuk 20. She mentions bitter,
Mar.
and then right, Mar, and then in 21 she uses harali, meaning it was bad. Hashem used it was bad.
Right. Harali. My
He's,
has afflicted me.
yeah.
Right. So the first one, it says Hashem was bitter with me. The second one, Hashem afflicted me.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so she was in the statement. She's as we mentioned yesterday. She's Naomi is accepting upon herself the judgments of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and even though they were very very difficult for her, this Moda, she was accepting of the fact that it was coming from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Didn't just attribute it to chance or to no reason whatsoever.
Good morning, Rabbi Furst.
Good morning, Roy. How are you today?
Hashem.
I like, I think I'm going to send this out. This is a medrash. I think it's worthwhile trying to understand what the situation was that they were dealing with here. Wasn't easy. We shouldn't either judge Elimelech, Naomi's husband, or herself wrongly. Let's see. I'm gonna send this out. Let's do something here. Let's do something here.
So we're doing the second chapter.
No, we're in the first chapter. In Pasuk 20 and 21.
Okay, thank you.
Roy, we're looking at two words which are used to talk about how Hashem treated Naomi.
Mhm,
First word is mar, which means bitter. Hashem was bitter with her.
Right, that's in
That's
Pasuk 21.
And in 21, it's
No.
hey Ra. Hashem afflicted her.
Okay.
Oh, 60.
Hara Lee brought misfortune. Afflicted me. Dealt bitterly with me. Wouldn't the Mara dealt bitterly with me be a broader one than afflicted me, brought misfortune? Mara could include every facet of life, health, abilities, everything. But misfortune seems just to do with sort of with your assets and chances to do things, but not absolutely everything as Mara would include. Anyway.
It's not Mara, it's Hamar.
Oh, no.
Hey, Ma, right.
That's important because
Oh, hey, Ma, I see.
word has Ra in it. Hey Ra. Ra means bad.
Yeah, but they don't really translate it as bad. It was she was brought these afflictions upon Hashem. Hashem inflicted her.
Caused me Mara.
Right, but I'm just saying, if you look at the root, Rabbi,
Yeah.
one has the root of the word Ra.
Correct.
and
Yeah.
Morning, Barry.
Good morning, good morning. Sorry I'm
Good
late.
morning, Barry.
Good morning.
You'll take a look in your Miller's Truth Psukim, Chaf and Chaf Aleph, 20 and 21. First chapter, 20 and 21.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Aren't they the same things, Mara and Hamar, Tihamar, in that the name Mara is from the way she's been treated by Hashem. Hamar, Tihamar. All right, I'll keep quiet.
Shalom, shalom, Alechem.
We have to do, we use them in learning, but, oh, yeah, my book. He's learning right now, so we're gonna one spot.
Okay, well, so let's continue on. Well, we're going to come back to this because we have to think about the situation. What was, we have to understand the whole why was Elimelech punished? Why were his sons punished? Why was Naomi punished? What was the punishment that they were deserving and why? So that we'll come back to. There'll be we'll try and get a full discussion of that eventually. Bezos Hashem.
This is hinted at, is it?
And, well, the Mefarshim explains some of it, but the Psukim himself don't go into the details exactly. No,
Hmm.
no, I would say not too much explanation from the Psukim themselves. Okay, let's go to the next pasuk. That would be pasuk Kaf Beis.
Phase, okay.
Yeah, who would like to do some reading to begin with?
Could I start?
Yeah, sure, Barry, if you like.
Okay. V'toshev Naomi Virus Hamoavi Kalosa Ima. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, Ima with her. Shova Misday. Get to the Hebrew. Misday Moab. Vehema Ba'o Beis Lechem. Sechilat Kotzir Sa'arim. So they came back and to the fields of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the cutting the barley.
Right.
So that was okay. So here it makes, it doesn't have to tell us here that Ruth is Hamoavia. We know that, but it's making an emphasis here.
Right.
So that sticks out for me, that there's something we can learn from it. And also it calls her Kalasa. So Al Pi Halacha, she's really not her daughter-in-law, because it was not a valid marriage.
Right.
So I mean, this is. I mean, I'm sure this will be answered later, but I just find it noticeable that they have to tell us that she's Moavia.
Right. I mean, also indicate that she hadn't been misguided yet. I think it would be
Yes.
a little
Right.
bit degrading if she had been misguided to still refer to as a Moabia.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Yeah. So I guess later on, we'll I guess we'll get the answer. But we never do in from here on. We know she's not Megayer yet, and from here on there is no evidence. I mean, there's no report that she was Megayer, that she went to the Bezdin and they questioned her, or whatever process they would have done.
right.
There's no indication that it happened, and of course we have to say that Boaz is not going to marry a Moabitess. So there, at some point, there was a conversion, which we don't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, which we it's not reported.
Right. That's true. The point that it's not recorded for us, meaning it must have taken place sometime sooner or later under some kind of conditions, but it wasn't recorded for us. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this pasuk to me almost seems like a summary of the whole first chapter. And the final statement about the barley harvest is, from what I can see, the only thing that's new, giving us new information about the timing, I guess, that she returned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But everything else is almost like a summary. If you go back through the verses, almost every thing that was said here was said previously.
Yeah, it's not really, it's a curious pasuk because it's not really, seemingly not giving us too much new information.
You know, it just occurred to me that if we view it the way Meir just said, the fact that it says Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, is a summary saying Ruth, who had been a Moabite, but now was a Jew.
Mm.
Right. But that's still the question about them being the daughter-in-law. Legal relationship between Naomi and Ruth previous to this, right? And
Right.
so
Right. Even if she converted on the way, let's say, she would still not be her daughter-in-law because she converted after the two sons
Sons
passed
died.
away,
Yeah.
right? So calling her Kalasa is we need to learn what it really means.
yeah, I mean this was she was referred to as the daughter-in-law previous, and it was a previous pasuk as well.
Mm-hmm.
Was a daughter-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
we asked the same question then.
Right. Right.
It could be like in a generic terms. I mean, there was they were married to them, so I guess in a certain way she was in a certain way she was the daughter-in-law, just in terms of
Yeah.
that, but
Right.
not legal, not in a legal sense, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way of trying to explain it.
Right. I mean, we certainly don't need that to know which Ruth we're talking about.
Right.
On the other hand, I have a comment here that basically it says that Naomi did return because she left, but Ruth was never in Israel. So how could she return to Eretz Israel?
That's a good point. Mhm. Did they give an explanation why it was referred to like that?
Not really. Well, hold it. Let's see. People pointing.
In my translation, it's got, and so it was that Naomi returned, comma, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her.
Right.
As like saying that Naomi returned and Ruth came with her.
Right. That's a good translation.
Mm-hmm.
I have a comment that says our sages teach that she returned in more ways than one. She returned to God. She repented and distressed once more that she came to Bethlehem, the very place she left to escape the poor and hungry. She willingly accepted the pain of facing her old acquaintances for the sake of living in the Holy Land, thus atoning for having left the land.
But it was, but how could, the question is, how could she be faulted because she was obligated to follow her?
No, there's a
her
halacha
son.
that says that you can't force your wife to leave, especially if you're talking about leaving Israel.
But originally it was temporary. He was only leaving because of the famine. So it would have been permitted for her to go with him. It was only later that that they were faulted for not going back. In other words, they didn't die. The husband didn't die right away. He died after the point where he should have gone back. Hashem punished him. And then it was the son's turns. They could have said, oh, look, we see our father was punished for not going back. We better go back. But no, they stayed too. So after a certain amount of time, I don't know if it's the 10 years, but they were punished too.
Right.
So then Naomi, this is basically the first opportunity she had to get out. She took it. She went out. So she did the correct thing. No, I don't know. It seems she was a virtuous person. It seems she
Well-
was a tzedekis. I mean, otherwise we have to make it out that she was, should be faulted.
Okay, that's something we'll have to try and decide. We have to try and understand exactly what the punishment was for. What did they actually do wrong?
It says in my commentary on verse 2 that she was punished because she had not prevented her husband from leaving the land of Israel, which was within her power. For by Torah law, a man cannot force his wife to relocate, let alone leave the Holy Land.
But on the other hand, they did have a head. If during a famine, you can leave Eretz Yisrael. That's what Barry was pointing out.
Right. They only left temporarily because of the famine, meaning that when the famine was over, they would have gone back. But her husband, when the famine was over, didn't go back. I mean, you can't say there was a famine for 20 years. That she only came back when the famine was over. It was quite a long time. The famine didn't last that long.
It says specifically that she heard that the famine was over when she decided to come back.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that, right, but it doesn't mean that it was over at that time. It could have been over long before that, but she's just hearing it.
There's a Gemara. Maybe we'll take a look at the Gemara. The Gemara speaks about this. The Gemara goes into details about that why was Elimelech punished, and there's several opinions. One opinion is that he should have mevakesh rachamim on his door, and didn't mevakesh rachamim. But not that he left Eretz Yisrael. He had a permit to leave Eretz Yisrael. Let me see.
למה לא תכניס רווקים? אני לא יכול לצאת, לשם, להקים שם.
Yeah.
שם. בוא לפה. אל תבין. בסדר. רק מה שאני מבין לך. לא מה צריכה להבין?
I'm gonna have to move this, but I'm not sure what, none of you say that. Okay.
קטנים.
Right.
רגע.
If you want to mark down the Gemara Baba Basra, Sadi Aleph Amid Beis.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not sure where it's gonna go yet, that's the problem.
Baba Basra. What?
Baba Basra Sadi Aleph. It's 91 Amid Beis.
91.
I'm not sure if it's gonna go in there.
Okay.
Or if it's
And this is for this is to do with what
When it's permissible to leave Eretz Yisrael. So
The Yakat Miyam Lois says that Naomi did tshuva.
question, what did she do tshuva for? What was her sin? She had to do tshuva for.
She returned to Hashem. She repented. She came to. She returned to her good deeds. Naomi returned to her original level of righteousness since she merited to bring back from Moab the mother of royalty. Now it says here, this is the Yakamir and Loaz. He says on Pasuk Chav Beis, it says, although Ruth was now fully a Jewess, she is still called a Moabite, reflecting the fact that her Moabite origin enabled her to guide Naomi safely out of Moab. So according to the Yakamim Loaz, at this point, she was already Megayer.
And that answers the question why she's still called a Moabite. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at one point she was this guy. Okay. All right.
So now where and when it happened, maybe there was a Jewish community in Moab. There were other people who left. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where that event took place.
Right. I mean, okay, the Gillis Furst is not concerned with telling us about her conversion.
Right. So we have to accept. I mean, according to the Yakamim Loaz, she was at this point she had converted.
Right.
Which is pretty difficult because when at the time that they left Moab or were planning to leave Moab, Ruth was encouraging both of them to stay, which would mean that Ruth was not converted at that point because she could not do that.
If it says in Baba Basra on 91b,
Right, that's the one, right?
That Machlon and Kilyon cohabited with Moab.
What?
So that supports the view that they did not convert before they were married.
Right. Right. And the fact that Naomi tried to encourage both of the women to go back to their homes, to their father's homes, means that they were not converted because she could not do that. There wouldn't be proper conduct for her to say, okay, all right, you converted, but don't worry about it. No, it was a big event if they were in fact Jews. So we have to say that at the time they were planning to go on the road we're on the road, and Naomi says to the two girls, you know, go back. And one of them does go back. So at that, then they go on the road. They go on the road, and they come to Bethlehem. So where could a conversion take place? Two women on the road, two women traveling on the road, which was a very hazardous journey. They had to go through Moab, etc. So where did the conversion take place? That's the Yaakov and Lois says that she was at this point she was converted. Good, okay, but at what point? While they're walking on the road from Moab to Bethlehem?
Right.
It seems a little bit of a stretch.
Right. Again, we're not told exactly how and when and where her conversion took place.
Right. It's
So,
okay. It's not the main point.
Yeah. That's the. I mean, it's a question. Why not? But clearly they're not. In writing the Megillah, that was not one of the points of information we were supposed to know from the Megillah.
Right.
We'd have to know, wouldn't we, what a conversion consisted of in those times? How do one convert? Was it a matter of saying something and that's it, or did you have to go through a procedure of some kind? So could you do it by yourself or what?
This also the same thing, but some of this stuff will go in that a little bit. I need to be pretty close, you guys. Never.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Roy, I would think that the conversion process was, you know, pretty much like what we have now. I mean, you know, it wouldn't make sense that a person could just self-convert. Because you'd have people, people trying to convert for, business reasons and social reasons, etc. So you just can't have people coming and say, "Oh, by the way, while I was walking to the market, I was McGuire myself." Hello, I don't think that's. I don't think
True.
I don't think the rabbis are going to accept that.
And I didn't believe that either, but I was just pointing out.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, but
Probably easier then than now.
I don't know.
Less complicated.
Could be. I mean, I'm sure there was a process they had to go through in those days as well. Whether it's now we have based ins with I imagine you always needed the basic. There are three basic ingredients that are necessary to be gears. It means the Kabbalah's old mitzvahs. You have the makabel of the Torah, and you have to. If he's a man, has to have bris milah, and if then you have to have tefillah. You have to have tefillah after you go to in the mikveh. And then there are details that you have to have based in. You have to have eating on the going to the mikveh, right? So there's questions whether these things are preemptive, meaning whether if you're lacking these things, there's still a question of being the misguided. But okay.
All right, so I guess we just have to say at a certain point she was McGuire. That's all. I mean, that's the Yaakov and Lois think so.
Yeah.
So it's good enough for me.
All right. Okay, let's continue. Let's go to the next pasuk.
Okay, so we're now up to chapter 2.
Right. Correct.
Okay. All right. Naomi Moda Leisha Ish Gibor Chayo. Naomi had a relative of her husband, an important person from the family Mishpachat Elimelech Ushma Boaz. It was from her husband's family, and his name was Boaz. V'toma Rus Hamoavia, here we go again, El Naomi, Elcha na Hasode V'olachta Yishuvolim Acher Asher of Tomar La Lichi Biti. I'll go. Ruth said to Naomi, I will go to the field and glean among the ears of grain after someone whom I will please. What does that mean? Until someone I will please? In other words, she has to get permission, right?
Well,
In other words, when she goes to the person's field, they have to say, okay, you can come in and glean.
that's a question. I mean, again, if she was told, what was she supposed to lock it? Meaning, was this the matnas aniyim? Was she? The question was, she obviously can't go into somebody's field and just start plucking away, right? But if it's lekek shishach and peya,
Right.
it's like the matnas aniyim, then if she was an ani, now again, that would be dependent upon whether or not she was misguided. If she was misguided, she'd have a right to take like a chicken pet like any other poor person in the
Right. Right. Okay.
So here, what do you, if she's coming, if she was misguided, let's assume by now she was misguided.
Yeah.
And then if she was poor enough, so she'd be able to take the like a shikha and pour it whether the person wanted it there or not. Right?
Okay.
So she doesn't need to. So right, Rashi. If you look at the Rashi, Rashi says that the person won't yell at her from collecting the
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, she was going to do it according to the custom, the proper custom.
Right.
But it sounds like a bit of a prophecy, right? That she's referring to Boaz.
Right.
That in some way it's like a prophecy, nevuah, that she's going to please him. Because doesn't she say that later on by that night when he's sleeping in the granary?
The exact lashon of what she used there?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it.
Could be.
Oh yeah. No. She came and she lied down at his feet.
Interesting. Ay, ay, ay,
Hmm.
ay, ay, ay. Hmm. I'll tell you, this is going to be this puzzle is going to be problematic. The ay, 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 ay. Right, this is good. Okay, so you should know the Brisker of
Mhm.
um, that he learns from this pasuk. He says like this. Brisker of says that he says even though al pi din, according to the halacha, the owner of the field is obligated to allow the poor people to come into his field to take shikar lecha kupeya. She was still a goya.
Ooh.
The Brisker Rav learned she was still a goya. Im kain al pi din lo haisa zechisa. Even therefore, according to the halacha, she was not zoicha. She had no right coming in.
Wow. Wow.
See
Yeah.
hear what's going on here?
Wow. That's amazing. He says beferish, straight out, she was a Goya.
Yeah.
Wow. See? Well,
Let's see. Hold on. Oh, so and you know what? Go to chapter Gimel Pasuk Yud Gimel.
Gimel. Gimel Yud Gimel? Okay.
Gimel Yud Gimel. Yeah, Gimel Yud Gimel.
Gimel Yud Gimel. Yeah. Lini halayla haya baboker im yigalech tov yigal in lo yachfot v'lig elech el altich anochi chai Hashem shichvi ad haboker. Stay overnight, and it will come to pass in the morning that if he redeem you, well, good, but let him redeem you. But if he does not wish to redeem you, I will redeem you.
Okay, that.
Chai Hashem, lie down until the morning.
Yeah, I think I have to check. There's a mistake. Gimel. I'm sorry. There was a mistake in that. Let me double check this. There was a mistake there. It should be Pasuk Gimel. Gimel, not Pasuk Gimel, Yud Gimel.
Oh, Gimel, okay.
Gimel.
All right. Yeah. Urchatzi, v'socht, v'samt, simlo saich, v'olayich, v'yodati, hagoren, al tevodi, leish ad kalota le'echel delishtos. And you shall bathe and anoint yourself and put on your clothes and go down to the threshing floor. Don't make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. So they want to say that this bathing is the mikveh?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've got a note here that says
Yeah.
bathe, literally wash. Since the verse does not specify hands or face, but simply bathe in a general sense, and since Naomi would not have to instruct Ruth to do such a basic thing, the Midrash interprets this verse in the spiritual sense. V'racha tzah, wash your v'racha tzah. Oh, anyway, wash yourself, clean yourself from your idolatry. That is, take a ritual bath, as Torah Tamima. The Bach quotes a Midrash Ne'elam that a convert is not free of the until 3 months following conversion. The 3 months were now ended. So where was she 3 months before this? See commentary to verse 1. And Naomi thus instructed her to take a ritual bath and cleanse herself entirely. Rav Breuer notes that Naomi specified these Shabbos-like preparations to ready Ruth for her holy mission because she was preparing for a solemn holy occasion.
Yeah, that 3 months is also, I think there's one of the reasons that they do that was done was because if Ruth had converted, but she was pregnant at the time, the 3 months have to pass before it's like official to make sure that there's no evidence that she's pregnant.
Right.
Right. I think that's the halacha that they have to know for sure if the convert is or isn't pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But those 3 months were now ended. So what was the 3 months ago? Where were they? What were they doing? They must have done a conversion then. It's interesting. I looked up on this thing conversion to Judaism in biblical times, and I've got a whole article here which is very interesting, but I won't read it out to you, but it sort of infers that conversion was not like we think it was. I don't know how to send it to you, but I don't know how authoritative the article is either, because it says it's conversion history, ancient period, by Lawrence J. Epstein. The evolution of Israel as a nation into Judaism as a religion was paralleled by a move from assimilation of strangers to a more formal idea of conversion. And it's reprinted with permission from the theory and practice of welcoming converts to Judaism, the Edwin Mellon Press. So as I said, I don't know how authoritative it is, how acceptable it is. I don't know if you want me to try and send it to you or not, but you probably got enough information yourselves.
I guess you could send it. I could look it over. Maybe I'll see. Again, I'm not sure what the sources are exactly, but yeah. So what are we understanding right now that Ruth at this time? So there's this different opinions as to whether when Ruth converted and therefore, this pasuk is crucial in our understanding of that, because the way that the Rizkara and others are learning is that she still had not been fully converted at that time. Therefore, she had no real right to take the this elected compara.
But Rebbe, aren't we forced to say that at the time that Boaz is talking to Ploni Almoni about taking Ruth, we have to say that she was converted at that time, because
By then, yes, yeah, by then we have to.
yeah, we have to say that, right?
Yeah, that's right. By then she should have to have been fully converted, that's right. Because she's going to become pregnant from Boaz, and that child has to be a full-fledged Jew, right?
Right. And Ploni Almoni doesn't say anything about how could you offer this marriage to me? She's not even Jewish. He doesn't. That would be the first thing he would say.
Right.
So it must have been known that she had been converted.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay, I guess we should stop here.
Take a break.
We're still deep in the middle of it, as they say, right?
I'm gonna need to